Charles Michael Palahniuk, aka Chuck Palahniuk, was born on February 21st, 1962, in Pasco, Washington. He grew up in a town near Burbank. While Chuck Palahniuk was in his early teens, his parents, Fred and Carol Palahniuk, divorced, leaving him torn and devastated as a child. Palahniuk received his degree in 1986 while attending a journalism school at the University of Oregon. After he had finished college, Chuck Palahniuk started to report for a radio station in Eugene, Oregon, and then he started to write for Portland's Oregonian newspaper. After he had worked there for a while, he switched his career completely and started to work as a mechanic. He stayed with this job until his career as a fiction writer took off. After writing a short story, which was published in 1990, Palahniuk decided to try his luck in writing novels. However, every time he would send his drafts to publishers, it would get rejected. After being rejected by multiple publishers, Palahniuk decided to go with his inner instinct and write about darker things. This is when he made the book Fight Club. Palahniuk got the idea to write this book when he was repairing cars at his real job. He also got ideas for Fight Club from a group called the Cacophony Society, which he was a part of. The Cacophony Society group pulled off large-scale pranks which Palahniuk used as inspiration to create Project Mayhem. Some events that led Palahniuk to write about something so dark would be the devastating loss of his father, Fred, and Fred's girlfriend. They were both murdered in 1999, and on top of that, Palahniuk's grandfather killed his grandmother and then committed suicide when he was just a child.
Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk is a book about our narrator who has insomnia, which is the difficulty to fall asleep, which results in his daytime drowsiness. Our narrator goes to these testicular cancer groups to deal with his personal problems, but a problem arrives. Our problem is Marla. Our narrator can't sleep with Marla around because she exposes him and his lies. Our narrator's job is to decide if initiating a vehicle recall is worth it. Our narrator has a best friend, and his name is Tyler, and they met at a nude beach. And one day after going out to a bar together, Tyler tells our narrator to hit him as hard as he can. This is how Fight Club is started. Our narrator and Tyler agreed that fighting helped them feel free to express themselves. Fight Club was a place where people went to feel that freedom. There were rules to Fight Club. First rule was, you do not talk about Fight Club. The second rule was, you do not talk about Fight Club. The third rule was, someone yells stop or passes out and the fight is over. The fourth rule is, there are only 2 to 1 fight. The fifth rule is, 1 fight at a time. The sixth rule is, no shirts, no shoes. The seventh rule is, fights will go on as long as they have to. And the final rule is, if it's your first day at fight night, you have to fight. Later, our narrator finds out that Tyler and Marla are sleeping together. Next, Tyler marks our narrator's hand with a chemical burn kiss caused by mixing lye and water. Human sacrifices. Our narrator is beginning to get pushed aside by Tyler. Fight clubs are opening all across the country, and our narrator didn't have anything to do with it. Our narrator feels left out and is on the phone with Marla. He asks her what his name, and she replies, Tyler Darden. Our narrator is trying to undo all the damage Tyler has done. He tries to abandon Fight Club, but fails. Our narrator has made his choice to kill Tyler. Now we're back where we started, with our narrator pointing a gun in his mouth. Marla, with her support group, races to the top of the building to tell our narrator that they can help him. Life is worth it. But he pulls the trigger anyways. Fast forwarding, our narrator is in the hospital thinking he is in heaven. Tyler's dead, and life is worth living again.
At the beginning of the book Fight Club, our main character, the narrator, is struggling through life while battling against insomnia, which is a sleeping disorder. He is living a sad, depressing, melancholy life where he goes to multiple support groups to feel wanted and cared for. The narrator tells us that these support groups help him go to sleep and that he feels safe around people that are just as unhappy with their lives as he is. This all changes when our narrator meets his best friend, Tyler Durden. Tyler is everything that the narrator isn't, such as funny, suave, and sexy. Tyler feels the same way about his life as the narrator does, so they bond over how awful each other's lives are. Both our narrator and Tyler then find a solution on how to end how boring and uninteresting their lives are, and that solution is fighting. They both find happiness in fighting and destroying things and causing chaos in society. Meeting Tyler is a significant event because when our narrator meets him, he instantly becomes happy because he finds a source of fun in his life. He's able to find the solution to making his life more interesting after meeting his friend Tyler. After they find the solution on how to make their lives better, they create the Fight Club, which is a significant event in the story because it brings the narrator happiness. By being able to create damage and chaos to others, no matter what the cost is, our narrator is able to find happiness in the very uninteresting, boring life he has.
Alright, so I thought there were many events that played a big part in the overall theme of the passage, and today I'm going to talk about some that stood out to me. My first example is the doorman leaned into my shoulder and said, "A lot of young people don't know what they really want. Young people think they want the world. If you don't know what you want, you end up with a lot you don't." Which to me plays a big part of the overall theme of the book of young people not knowing what they really want and how our narrator has found the thing he really wants, which is Fight Club. Another example of text leading to the overall theme is flowers bloom and die. Wind brings butterflies or snow. A stone won't notice. To me, this represents the theme that some people's stories are not fully noticed, like how we didn't know Tyler didn't have a father, and that his main reason he goes to these fight clubs is that he's going to for the fight of his father, that he misses him so much. And my last example of how the text shapes the overall theme of the passage is one of Tyler's most famous quotes, which is "Hit me as hard as you can," which shows the theme of optimism, being able to get hit and still being able to get back up and keep moving forward, which is shown with Tyler and our narrator throughout the book, with everything from our narrator having insomnia and his house burning down and Tyler growing up without a dad. There are plenty of times where the characters of this book have showed optimism. As you can see from the examples above, there are many events that played a big part of shaping the characters and the overall theme of the book.